Hey guys!
Hi!
It's the SG Flixters and this is our spoiler review for The Green Knight. Spoiler time! Okay, so what happens in this movie is Dave Patel's character Gwaine. He actually is the nephew of King Arthur. We first see this Dave Patel's character who is like lay about. Like he's not doing anything with his life.
He's a bum.
Yeah.
He's a bum who just visits ladies.
Yeah, then he gets called to King Arthur's court for a Christmas party.
Seems like it, yeah.
Yeah, and then the mother didn't want to go because she said she didn't like parties.
Yeah, and that was mystery number one, right?
Yeah.
When like she was like doing some spell thingy.
So when Dave Patel is at the party, the king says he wants to speak to the Gwaine. Should we just call him Gwaine?
Okay.
So the king says he wants to speak to Gwaine.
I thought it was Gawain.
Gawain?
I hear them saying calling him Gawain.
Gawain?
Who's name Gawain?
Gawain.
Gawain, okay.
Yeah.
He's Gawain then.
So the king, Arthur, says he wants to speak to Gawain, and Gawain goes up to him, and then King Arthur says that it's a joyous occasion. He wants Gawain to tell a heroic story, a noble story, but Gawain says that he doesn't have it. Yeah, so the king was like asking around who has a noble story to tell. And then during this time, his mother is at home with like other people doing some kind of witchcraft thingy. Yeah, and I think they were the ones who summoned the Green Knight in a way, right? Because they gave the letter.
It seemed that way, yeah.
It was a letter she wrote and then she put it in some like fire. The Green Knight came with the letter
and challenges them.
And then the queen reads it and then she becomes like a demonic kind of presence and then she reads the letter saying that it's a challenge. It's like a game. Whoever can strike the Green Knight will have riches, is it?
Did they say that?
I felt like that's what I heard.
What I do remember is that he said that however the hero strikes the Green Knight, in 1 year's time, the Green Knight will do it.
Yeah, but that's after. But then there must be a reason why he want to strike the Green Knight. I heard that it was like you will have riches for 1 year.
I didn't hear that part.
That's what I heard.
Okay, there were many times in the movie when I was like, oh, I wish I could rewind that. I didn't quite. Yeah.
That's why throughout the movie he seems like he has money. I don't know because is he King Arthur's nephew, that's why he's rich, or because
really nice
he
house.
had money because he did this game with the Green Knight.
The impression I got was like they've got money because they keep calling him Sir as well.
So for some reason Gawain had to he volunteered to fight for the king because the king said he was too weak to fight for himself. So Gawain went up to fight with the Green Knight and the Green Knight just dropped his axe and then he was like, just strike me, you know. He didn't even put up a fight.
Yeah.
And then Gawain was like, he just beheaded the Green Knight.
Yeah, and I was just like, why would you do that? Why didn't you just like give him like a scratch?
Yeah.
I was like, were you not listening when like the queen was talking about it?
Yeah.
So I was like, what's wrong with this person? Why didn't he just like scratch him somewhere and then 1 year later he gets it back?
Because I think he didn't know that the Green Knight would actually rise back up behind him without the head. So he thought like this killing the Green Knight would be that's it, done and done. But he didn't expect the Green Knight to come back from the dead. That's why his reaction was like, he was like, he knew that in 1 year's time he was going to get beheaded.
I totally saw it
That's
coming.
it. So the Green Knight walked over to his beheaded head, picked it up, and then said that in 1 year's time he will get his revenge or something like that, right? Then he started laughing, he started cackling.
He said, I'll meet you or something,
yeah. Then he walked out, and everybody in the courtroom started to clap.
I thought that was quite realistic, right? Because
the Green Knight portion, everything was perfect, it was fine.
Even him being beheaded and all, I thought that was very realistic.
And all the blood flattering from the from the head wound. Okay, so after that, he lives his life. They have like puppet plays of him. Like his story is getting spread throughout the entire kingdom.
Yeah, like he's a big hero because he beheaded the Green Knight.
Yeah,
for 1
so
year.
all the children are watching like puppet shows of Gawain beheading the Green Knight and then like a hero, he become a hero. But then I think at the back of his mind he keeps thinking like in 1 year's time I'm going to have to meet the Green Knight and be beheaded by him.
Yeah.
Right. He had to travel to where the Green Knight was. So it was in like a green chapel, right?
They said you have to meet me in the green chapel.
Yeah, meet me in the green chapel and then bow before me and then I will reciprocate what you did to me, right? Yeah. So it was coming to 1 year already. It just zoomed 1 year past. Yeah. So they didn't show what happened between this 1 year.
Yeah, the other strange thing about this movie also, okay, not strange, but that was quite different, was they had all these like scene headings, right? It was like reading a book where you got the next chapter.
Different chapters,
Then they have like a title of it.
Yeah.
And then
like what's going to happen in that chapter.
Yeah. And also the font wasn't easy to read.
Yeah.
I was like, huh? What was that? I missed it. Can we
Most
rewind?
of it I got, but then there was like some like it was just like lines and I don't know what that.
Yeah, it was like fancy evil
font.
calligraphy.
Yeah. So after that, Gawain meets with the king, and then the king says you have to go and meet the Green Knight. It's for your honor. You know, you have to go and meet the Green Knight and fight him. I don't know whether fight him or succumb to him. It's just to
do what you
finish the
promised.
game. Basically, it's to finish the game. Because this entire thing seems to be a game. And then to end the game, he has to meet with the Green Knight and then face the consequences of his actions. Yeah. So the mother also sends him away, and she gives him this green sash.
Yeah.
Right.
The
Which
green
actually
sash is...
plays such an important part in the story. Right. Keeps coming back.
Yeah. It was one of the mysteries.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she says as long as you wear this, no harm can come to you.
Yeah, so he wore the sash and then he traveled out of the kingdom to seek out the Green Knight. So he leaves the castle towards the Green Chapel, and that's where the next half of his journey begins. He travels.
Okay, the first thing he encountered was he walked through a forest where there were dead bodies.
Oh yeah, then this boy came to him, right?
Yeah, and one thing that I want to watch again was like the first dead body that he encountered, was it that of the boy? Do you think it was the same character?
The boy that ran up to him?
Yeah, the first boy.
So it was not real? The boy was not real?
I have a feeling none of the people in the story were real, yeah.
I thought the boy was real. I thought they were real brigands who wanted to lure him away to steal his horse and money and stuff and
It
his
seems
weapons.
like all the characters on the journey were... There's a term for these characters, but I can't remember my literature. I think they were symbolic of something.
Oh, yeah, there was a lot of symbolism in the movie, but I felt like this was real. To me lah. To me, I felt like this boy was real. So Gawain asked the boy, where is the Green Chapel?
Yeah, but so that's the thing that I really want to... I think we need to read. Was this boy the same as the first dead body he saw? Because they really zoomed in on the first dead body's face. It was seated against tree, and then they with arrows in him. That dead body.
Okay.
So I wonder whether that is the same character or same face. Yeah.
Okay. So this Gawain asked the boy for directions to the Green Chapel, and then the boy said it's across the river and stuff. Gawain was riding away, the boy asked for money, then Gawain gave him a coin.
What was the term he used when he asked for money? Because he didn't say he didn't ask for money, but he used a certain term that later on another character used the same term.
I thought he just said didn't his services grant a reward or something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, didn't it merit some goodwill or some reward for his directions that he provided?
Yeah.
So to me, him giving the coin to the boy, right, was a sign of saying that he had money and was worthy to be robbed. So this was what I took away from that. So that when he went further into the woods following the boy's direction, he actually got robbed by the boy and his friends.
And two others,
Yeah, two of his friends. So they actually tied him up. They took his horse and his axe, the giant axe that the Green Knight used, and then they rode away with it.
Yeah, but because the boy also said something, he was like, follow the stream because it gets tricky. And then this stream it reappears later on as something significant.
So he's tied up there, camera pans around, then shows him dead, and then it pans back around and then showed him alive. So when he's dead, he's like a skeleton lying on the ground. Then when he pans back, he's like a normal boy again.
Yeah, so those were one of the scenes where it could be really boring. I could see why people would walk out of the theater.
It was very draggy, right? The camera was just slowly panning, 360.
Yeah, but I'm not sure whether you noticed it, but you could see the subtle shifts in the shades of green.
I didn't really catch that.
So because when they were doing that, maybe it was my imagination, I don't know, but you could see that it was getting greener and greener and greener. Halfway through the panning, so this is how long it took, right? I was thinking to myself, hey, if this is December, if it's Christmas, shouldn't it be winter? That was something that crossed my mind.
We haven't really reached December yet, right?
It was December!
It wasn't exactly Christmas time yet. It was a few days,
a few
weeks before.
Yeah, but
he had to travel
it's winter.
all the way. Yeah.
But December is still winter, so I was halfway through the panning, I was like, why is it so green? And then they showed his dead body. It's like,
So this dead body, I have a theory of that also.
Okay, what's your theory?
We'll get to it after we finish this.
Okay.
Spoiler for the movie. Okay, so after that, he crawls and then he cuts himself loose, gets up, then he wanders, right? He keeps seeing this fox.
Yeah, the fox is his
kept
companion.
following him. Yeah, so the fox was a purely CGI character, which I felt like they did tricks that they didn't really focus on the fox. They showed it from very far, and then they showed the fox running across really quickly. Because the CGI was bad.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I felt like the CGI was bad, so they didn't really focus clearly on the fox. They just showed flashes of the fox only. Yeah, so that was one of the CGI characters that I felt like it pulled me out because it looked fake.
But when the fox was talking, it was quite real, what?
It looked like a real live action movie with an animated character in it, like a cartoon. That's how I felt.
Oh,
Yeah, the fox is following him as he journeys, and then he comes across this house, right, and then sleeps on the bed, and then then he wakes up, and then there's this girl like, why are you sleeping in my bed?
That's like the same Winifred.
Yeah.
There's an encounter with Saint Winifred or something.
So it became a bit horror suddenly.
Yeah.
Like the whole thing became like a bit horror.
I was like on the edge of my seat.
At that point, is it?
It was like why is this so creepy? Why did it
Yeah.
suddenly become a horror movie?
Yeah. She was saying that there was another traveler that came to her house and then tried to sleep with her, and then she rejected him, and then he chopped off her head and threw it in the river.
Yeah, I know.
So she was standing in front of the river and pointing, my head is in there.
Tell me, look for it.
Yeah, and then Gawain was like, no, your head is there, my lady. Your head is there. I was
And
like,
then but you know, like every time she turns her head to look at him, I'm like, oh my gosh, is it going to drop off? Did you have that feeling too?
A bit I did. I felt like suddenly your head was just going to disappear.
Like, no, but then it's like, how do they do that to make you think that, right?
Yeah. It was good acting lah.
It was
good
just
acting
so
from her.
creepy.
And yeah, so Gawain actually jumps in and rescues her head.
Oh yeah, but
the
before
skull.
that, he asked, if I do this for you, what would you give me?
Yeah, and then she was like, why are you asking me this?
Yeah,
Why are you asking me this?
I wonder whether that's to show that he's not a changed man yet. Could be.
He wants something in return, right, for doing it.
Yeah, that was weird. Yeah, but
So he jumps in, and then it was not just a simple lake, it was like a symbolic thing also. Like the lake became a sea, and then he was swimming in the middle of the ocean.
and then it was like funny colors. It was
Yeah.
like psychedelic or something.
And then he saw the skull at the bottom of the lake, and then he swam, picked it up, and then brought it to her. But she wasn't there. Then he walked over to the bed, and then he saw her skeleton lying on the bed. Then he looked down at the skull, and it was her face. It was her head. He was holding her head, and he just dropped it on the floor.
Yeah, but in the first place, if you think about it, if you had just gone to dive in to get a spirit skull, would you like calmly walk back to the house and go, my lady, my lady?
Yeah.
And then like, yeah, obviously it's going to like creep you out, right?
Yeah, but then this is a fantasy movie, so there was a lot of other fantastical things that happened also. Like even the Green Knight is it's like a tree. Yeah, so I guess spirits are not that uncommon maybe.
Yeah, that was, yeah.
Yeah. So the head, what did the head say after it fell on the floor? It was like, it said something, and then he turned, and then there was the axe there, the axe from the Green Knight.
The head said something about you can meet the Green Knight or your radio, something to the effect.
Oh, she said you already know who is the Green Knight or something like that.
Yes.
She said something along those lines, like you already know who is it. Yeah, and then he turns, and then the Green Knight's axe is leaning on the pillar.
Yeah.
So the axe and the sash that he wore was actually stolen from the brigands.
Yeah.
Yeah, so suddenly it's appeared over there. He takes the axe and he travels again. So he bonds with the fox, like the fox is near to him, walking like
Yeah, the best of
like a
friends.
doggy like that. They're walking through a mountain, and suddenly this huge hand just grabs the mountain. I was like, oh my gosh, what is
I
that?
was like, is he
It's like
hallucinating?
this huge giant. See like this giant's head walking across the mountains. It's like, wow, what's happening there? So he runs up the mountain and he sees a few naked giants just walking away. Like they were really huge giants. They were just walking like Attack from Titan. I think even bigger than Attack from Titan giants. So they were walking away, and then he calls out to them, hey, like what did he say?
He wants a ride.
Yeah. He said, can I sit on your shoulder and you can just carry me across?
He's tired.
So the giant actually wanted to pick him up, right? And then he like, "Wah!"
Yeah.
And then the fox started to bark at the giant.
Or howl or something.
Yeah, howl. And then all the giants started howling together.
Yeah.
And that part I found very disturbing also. I don't know, I found that scene very disturbing. And then
It
with the
was, yeah.
music and then with the howling, it was like very nauseating also.
Oh, okay. Was it the part you found?
One of the parts, yeah. So it's like, I was like, this is very sick and disturbing. Like all these giants are like howling like the fox. And then they all looked very weird looking.
They didn't look human, yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't look like big humans, you know.
They were all like bald.
had a look
And
of
then,
their own.
yeah, they were also CGI, which I could tell they were CGI, but it was a bit like Uncanny Valley kind of CGI. Like you felt sick looking at them. I don't know if you felt the same way.
That's what I meant by they felt like otherworldly characters.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the giants just walk away after that, then he just walking behind them with the fox. Then he comes upon this castle. He's greeted at the door by this man, right?
Yeah, so at this point he's like he's nearly dead,
Yeah, he's
right?
nearly dead.
And he just like
So he goes in and collapses on
Yeah.
the floor. He dreams about his mother taking care of him. And then when he wakes up, it's actually the man. It's a man who's taking care of him. And then he's like the owner of this house. He has a wife. Is that his wife? And then his mother. There's an old lady and a young lady. And the old lady was like blindfolded.
And the young lady is the same girl as like the girl that he had been visiting.
Yeah. So at the start, he actually had a girl who he liked, and I guess she liked him.
I thought that she was a prostitute that he was paying.
Oh, I don't know.
Because they were talking about giving gold and all that stuff. Yeah. So they also had this like really bizarre kind of interaction.
Yeah, like there was more to it than meets the eye. Like this house was like a freaky fun house like that, you know?
Yeah, and she gives you the book.
Yeah, she's like a big reader of books, and then she gives him a book and then takes a photograph of him.
Yeah.
It was like the first photograph ever made kind of thing, you know? It's like before that everybody was just doing portraits, painting portraits, and then she was like, because it was this upside down thing. So when the image was captured upside down, I immediately know it was a photograph, because that's how photographs work. It captures the image upside down. Yeah, so I was like, wow, she did a life-size photograph painting kind of thing. So I thought that was kind of cool. Yeah.
And I'm like, what's the significance of the book?
They didn't really mention much about the book.
I feel like everything has some kind of significance. The owner of the man of the house, he comes home with like this huge hunt, like a huge catch. He tells Gawain that this is for your ride home, for your journey. And then Gawain was like, oh, but I thought you said it's only a day away. And then he was like, oh no, it's for your journey home.
Yeah.
And at that point, you're also feeling a little bit disturbed, like is this a ploy?
Yeah, the way people treat him is like he's going to defeat the Green Knight and going to return back home. That's how other characters in the movie were treating him. Like he wasn't going to die when he met the Green Knight. He was like going to overcome the Green Knight, and then he was going to go back home as the hero.
Yeah, but I also was thinking, is this a ploy to get him to stay longer so he misses the appointment? Like was all the people and experiences along the way?
They were trying to keep him there, right? They didn't want him to go until like the last minute.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, so this is just next door, and it's just nearby only. It's just like a day's walk. Yeah.
Or was it all his imagination because he really didn't want to go? Because he didn't want to go, he was like kind of like
creating excuses in his head, is it?
Yeah, because like the uncle, the king was like, no, you have to go. The mother was like, you have to go. And he's like, when he was talking to the girl initially, it was also like he didn't really want to go. But he felt like that's what I need to do to become a man, you know? But he wasn't, because he was like the anti-hero almost.
The lady in the house, the young lady,
she was like, why didn't you come to me?
They slept together, I think.
Don't know lah.
Yeah,
it's one of those artistic moments.
She was wearing the sash around her waist, and then she was like, do you want it? Then you take it from me. And then he was like pulling it from her, right?
Like that,
yeah. And then she was also saying like, if you have this sash, nothing can harm you.
Yeah, as long as it's around your waist,
nothing can harm you, and then you are protected, stuff like that, right? It's another symbol of the sash again. He decides to leave. The lady in the blindfold was just watching them. She came up to him and then touched her heart or something. I don't know what was that about. He decides to leave. As he's walking away from the castle, he sees like a big carcass on the ground, and then suddenly the owner of the castle was behind him, saying like, why are you leaving? You know, you're not ready to go yet and stuff like that. Still have time. And then he was like, no, I have to go now. I have to travel already. The owner like rode up to him and kissed him, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, I don't know what was that about.
What's all this about?
Then he was like, get away from me, please.
No, he said that it's just something of yours that you can't give me.
Yeah.
Do you really have nothing to give me? So that was like reminiscent of what the boy, the brigand earlier had said. Like, are you sure there's nothing that you can give me? That was with them, but then he went over and kissed him.
But before that, in the house, he was saying like, at the end of the day, you must give me something that I don't have. And then he was like, what possibly in this house don't you have? You already have everything already, right?
Yeah, I was like, you must give me something that you got from the house. Then he was saying...
So was it like his love or something? I don't know. That part was a bit weird lah. The owner let him go.
But he had caught the fox.
Yeah, so he actually released the fox.
And they travelled on together.
And then they travelled. And then...
Travel. Then they come to the stream, right?
Yeah.
With a boat. And then the fox starts growling and speaking to him and stops him from going.
Like he say, no, you must not go to meet the Green Knight. You don't know what kind of guy he is. He's like the worst thing ever. So please turn around.
Like
and just live in shame.
Yeah.
Yeah, just live your life in shame. It's more worth it than going to the Green Knight and facing your consequences. He chased the fox away and then the fox ran away.
He was like, I didn't ask you to accompany me.
Yeah. and then the fox like skulk and run away. Right.
Maybe the fox is like his baser self. It's a symbol of his baser
Are
self
you
or
reading
something.
too much into it? It's just a fantastical talking fox. So he ditches the fox and then he continues on alone, and then he actually comes to the Green Chapel. So the title was like a beheading at the Green Chapel.
Oh yeah, that's the chapter
Yeah,
title,
that was the
right?
chapter title. So he walks in and then he sees the Green Knight covered in like leaves. He's like part of the window or something. He was like part of the wall. Yeah, he was inanimate. It's just like a statue.
Yeah, and then he just waits.
Yeah, so Gawain actually just puts the axe down in front of the Green Knight and then he just sits on the floor and waits. Then it becomes dark. And then it becomes the next day. So as the dawn is breaking the next day, it's Christmas Day. You can see the Green Knight's eyes like opening a bit and then closing, opening a bit and closing. Like he's waking up after like a year's worth of sleep or something.
Yeah, I thought that scene also was done in a mysteriously very gripping way. It's like there's nothing happening, but you're still just watching.
So like focused on what's going on, right?
Yeah.
That's
It's such a
one of the
strange
things that the
experience,
movie did very well. Yeah. So he gets up and then he was like, the Green Knight was like, oh, you came. He was like surprised that he actually turned up. Are you ready? And then Gawain was like, is this the only way or something, right?
Yeah, it was a bit fun. I thought that was a bit comical.
Yeah.
Because like the knight will like want to.
He just want to get it over with. Like, come let's let me chop your head and then end the game. And then Gawain was like, no.
I think he did that at least 3 times, right?
Yeah. Just when the Green Knight was going to chop his head, like, no. Then he was like trying to give some excuse. Is this the only way? Is there no other way? In the end, he just ran away. Yeah. He left the Green Knight. No, I can't do this. And then he ran out of the chapel. He journeyed all the way back home. And I think at this point, he must have told people that he defeated the Green Knight. That's what I felt. That's why everybody regarded him as more of a hero.
Yeah.
And then he actually became king after died. So I think everybody acknowledged him as the person who defeated the Green Knight. So he was worthy enough to become king. Yeah, which is actually living a lie because the Green Knight is still alive and he didn't finish the game with the Green Knight.
Yeah, and then after that, he kind of like fast forwarded.
Yeah, so he fast forwarded his
right?
life. He actually had a child with the prostitute lady.
Yeah, but then he steals the child. And
so
then...
he takes the child and then gives her money. He doesn't want to marry her. So he marries another princess, I guess.
Yeah.
Princess, and then...
So this is like showing that he's still bad.
Yeah.
He's still a bad guy, right?
Yeah.
And he has a sash around him throughout.
Yeah. So he never took out the sash. Even when he's naked, he always had the sash. He never took it out. So it fast forward through wars. I think there was wars going on.
Yeah, and then his son dies.
Yeah, so the son dies and then he's like mourning. Eventually comes to a point where he's sitting in the castle with the wife and a baby. I think his wife also gave birth to another baby.
Oh, was it another kid?
Yeah, I think it was another kid.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I was a bit confused there. I thought like, are they going back in time again?
Yeah.
Oh, but it was another kid, okay.
And then something was attacking the castle. Like, but they didn't show what it was. It was just something attacking the castle. And then like they were barricading themselves in the throne room. Yeah, and then all the guards were like barricading the door for him. And then eventually it broke through, right?
But we don't see what happens.
Yeah, we don't see what happens. But then they saw his sash. Like he's pulling out his sash from inside his tunic. Like there's a hole in his tunic and then he's like pulling out the sash. Then as soon as the sash comes out, his head falls off. Then he's like sitting there headless with his head on the ground.
Yeah.
Like that came out of nowhere. Like the sash was holding his head in place, like really protecting him. You know, so without the sash, he's dead.
Yeah.
And then after that, it suddenly zoomed back all the way to the past when, at the point where the
Green Knight
was going to behead him.
Yeah.
So like as though everything didn't happen. Everything after that didn't happen. It was all back to the point where he's back in the Green Chapel and the Green Knight was over him. Then he was taking out the sash.
He was like, wait.
Yeah. Then he took out the sash. They said, okay, I'm ready, do it. And then the Green Knight dropped the axe. And he knelt down beside him and then he was saying, he said like good job or well done or something, along
like
those
that,
lines.
yeah.
You did good. I'm not going to kill you now because you did something good. That's how it ended.
That's how it ended, right?
Yeah, and then the movie ended just like that.
And you're just left going like, what?
So I have a few theories about this. So I'll start from the first part. From when the mother did the witchcraft thing.
Okay.
So I have a feeling, right, that she made a pact with this Green Knight to actually make this challenge to the son so that the son won't be such a bum anymore. He will go and do something with his life and then become a hero, the hero that he was meant to be. So I think that's why the mother did all these witchcraft things, to go and like do something with her son.
Okay.
What do you think about that? Do you
That
think
makes
it
sense. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So after that, the next part that was a bit weird was when the camera rotated and then they showed him dead, and then rotated back and then it was showing him alive. So it was, to me, it was inside his head. It was all his like what he's thinking. Like if he doesn't move, if he doesn't do anything, he's gonna die. So it showed the outcome of him not moving. Yeah. And then after that, when it panned back, it showed him moving to rescue himself. So to me, that imagery was like, it was inside his head, like what would have happened if he didn't do anything about it, kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of like, you know how it's like a journey of him becoming a man, almost. I thought that was kind of like a, okay, if at this is like the crossroads of his life, you either be a man or you just stay here and die. Like you just die as the person that you were yesterday. So I thought that that was kind of like a, if at this moment he didn't change, that would have been that would have been the end of him.
But the other thing that makes me think that is in his mind also, right? Like what would have happened if he didn't move, right? Was also what happened at the ending part, the last part, like when he stopped the Green Knight from chopping off his head, then he ran away.
Yeah.
He was actually imagining it at that point of time. So he was imagining like, what if the Green Knight had chopped off his head while he was wearing the sash? So to him, he knows the sash is protecting him from dying. So even if the Green Knight had chopped off his head will still be there because the sash is protecting him. So he ran away and he lived his life. His head is already beheaded, but because of the sash, he was still there. Yeah. So it was all in his imagination. Like, what if the knight beheads me, but I'm still wearing the sash?
Okay.
Yeah. So that is my view of how that happened.
Okay. I thought it was also like an alternate ending
Oh.
type of thing. Like if like if he was not brave and he ran away, this is how his life would have been. I thought it was like an alternate ending.
To me, it was more like himself thinking like what would have happened if. So for these two scenes, it made me feel that way. Like one scene, like he's dead. Like what if he didn't move, he would die. And then the next scene is like, what if he had allowed the Green Knight to chop his head while he was wearing the sash? He would live his life.
He would have like
But then
taken advantage of the poor girl, married a princess.
Yeah.
And
so he was
died
actually
big.
living out his entire life in that moment. And then when it came to the end, when his head actually fell off, then it rewound back to the present. When the Green Knight was there, then he was like, oh, I have to take it out. I can't live my life this way. So because of that, he took out the only thing that he felt was protecting him. The Green Knight was like, okay, you pass, you become a hero, you go back to your mother and me, sweet, good already. So that's the story for me. It was like a deal with the mother, with the Green Knight, for this entire story to happen. For him to realize that he cannot always be protected by his mother, by the king, by all these people. He needs to be his own man. That's what I took away from this movie.
Okay, it makes sense. I thought it was a journey of self-discovery and for him to be brave. And then finally he made like
It's also
righteous choice.
It's also self-discovery and being brave on my view of the story also.
Yeah, but I feel like at the end of the day he made the righteous choice, which is like you made a pact, now you have to live up to it without all this protection, which is like the sash.
Okay, I think we covered almost everything.
Yeah, but I thought it was a good movie.
Yeah. It was. But we definitely need to do a lot more research on it.
So our rating,
4
just a recap.
and 3.
I gave it a 4. As I am talking more about it, I think I'm more solid in my 4.
It's moving away from the 3 and
Yeah.
securing the 4.
Not a 5 yet, but yeah.
Okay guys, thanks for watching our spoiler review of The Green Knight. If you like our content, please like and click the subscribe button and support us. Okay, bye guys.
Bye.